Welcome to the channel. At this point, if you don't think Pulsechain has massive potential, you probably need to be drug tested. Now, I won't really go that far, but I will say you just simply haven't done your research. In today's video, we're going to talk about a few reasons why it has massive potential. Then I'm going to go on and explain why it can reach $1. I'm not going to give an exact time frame, but I will give an idea of possibilities of what it could take to get there. So for starters, let's just talk about the world's largest airdrop. The best way to compare this is, let's think about Taco Bell. Now, whether you like Taco Bell or not, that's not the point. But do you want to know what happens when Taco Bell says, hey, come by the drive-thru between these hours and get your free taco? Here's what happens. Hello, may I take your order? Yes, I came to get my free taco. All of a sudden, people like Taco Bell. My point is, just like with this airdrop, right? People who have already been using Ethereum, they're going to be able to get their free tokens. So regardless of their mind on the project, regardless of basically anything, they're going to have an opportunity to get tokens. Everybody in crypto wants a free bag, and not a scammy bag at that, right? Then we got Richard Heart. Now, this is not some anonymous random guy. This is someone who's always engaging the community, always on social media, talking with people, doing interviews. When you take that and the fact that people who have seen what Hex did know that he is the creator of Pulsechain and PulseX, well, you can already see the potential there. And something to remember is Richard Heart, you can say that his reputation is somewhat on the line. He's not some anonymous hidden figure, so he knows after the run-up of Hex and how well it did, people are gonna have expectations. And I think for the most part, he just tries to keep it real. Next, let's talk about the functionality of Pulsechain. Everyone knows Ethereum has its issues. Now, do I believe that just right off the bat, this will be the ruination of Ethereum? No, I don't. I don't believe there's an Ethereum killer. My personal thoughts. But either way, if this project does what it's supposed to do and it delivers, maybe it's a slow trickle, but people come over, right? Because of the airdrop, they get that initial engagement. Then what happens over time? If it essentially is Ethereum, yet better, people may start to adopt it. And adoption is the name of the game in crypto. So I like that there is this setup to get people over. And then if it just does what it says it can, faster on the transactions, all those things that have been laid out already, it does bode well for the project. So that's something to keep in mind. And that's why it is important, right? I know everybody wants it to launch, but that's why it's important that they do make sure that they check off all those little things that need to be corrected so that the functionality is there. The last thing you want to do is get people to come over to get the airdrop or try to interact with Pulsechain and PulseX and the product ends up being trash. Now, I don't believe that'll happen, but that is why it's important to make sure the functionality is right. And I think with it being Richard Heart, it likely will be. The next thing to remember is when we talk about Ethereum, we're talking about the richest people in crypto, right? And the most adoption in crypto. So because of that, when you've got a chance to get those individuals over, it brings liquidity, right? You attract them over, you attract the liquidity, you need the liquidity to get rich. So if that's your plan in crypto, regardless of whether you love, hate, or how you feel about Ethereum, there is no denying you need liquidity to get wealthy. Right? In crypto anyway, you absolutely do. And honestly, in pretty much any market. Something further is Pulse Bomber, right? So with Pulse Bomber, you're talking about really getting some other things that are, I'm not even gonna say just buzzwords, really just some of the most popular things in crypto across various blockchains, and that coming over to Pulsechain. So we're talking about NFTs, an NFT marketplace, that is NFT gaming, a metaverse. So when you take all those things also, we'll put that on Pulsechain, it really does help it to just lift up to the level of some of these other blockchains very quickly as well. So think about these other layer ones that have just done really well. When you take Pulsechain that's really geared towards the entire Ethereum blockchain, the potential is really limitless. Now, when it does come to reaching $1, right? We do have to talk about this. There pretty much is a warning that Richard Heart gave himself, right? That is, and I just mentioned you have to have liquidity. I think that's the thing that a lot of people in crypto, newer anyway, don't understand. Regardless of what you think about Pulsechain and this project and the airdrop, if there's no liquidity, you're not going to make money. If there's no liquidity, you're not going to make money. So for all these people that have these crazy strategies and all that, I think it's cool, but what you have to remember is, where will the liquidity be? When you do interact with Pulsechain, I'm going to say Hex, Pulsechain, and PulseX is where most of that liquidity is going to lie. I do think it's likely that they will drop down. Over time is when the gains will happen. That's what I believe. Over time is when the gains will happen. So that's just something you have to keep in mind. You may be thinking about all these other tokens that are smaller that you want to try to get some gains out of. But you got to remember, if there's no liquidity, you're not going to get the gains. So that's very important. And there was an interview with Wendy O, and it was Richard Heart, right? Where he spoke to that. So he's telling you himself. He does mention the market. He mentions how I don't feel comfortable, basically, I'm paraphrasing, going out in this market, loading up as is. So why would I do that even if it's Pulsechain or those other tokens, right? That he's not comfortable loading up on. Why would I do that even if it's in terms of with Pulsechain? So he's telling you. I really think he's trying to do the right thing. So that's why I'm saying Hex, Pulsechain, and PulseX, probably where the liquidity is. So you need to think about that in terms of your strategy. And check out that video just as a frame of reference. When it comes to reaching $1, right? I don't think it's going to bust out of the gates and just go sky high. I don't believe that's going to happen. Also, you got to remember, right, because many of you all have sacrificed. So some of those people have sacrificed and already have that Pulsechain bag already, right? Those who have that are going to probably sell off a little bit. Well, when you sell off, what happens to the market, right? So just out of the gate, no, I don't think it'll happen like that. But also remember what happened with Hex. I want to say Hex maybe took 6 months or so. There will be gains out the gate, I believe, but the crazy gains will start to come, I think, over time, maybe 6 months, and then on up to a year is when we'll see even more. But $1, I think it'll happen. I definitely think it can happen. Now, will it? That remains to be seen. But the possibility of it, I absolutely think it is there. Do you think it's going to reach $1? Leave me a comment. Just say yes or no to if you think it will reach $1. Also, you can make money in any market with unstoppable domains. So go and get your unstoppable domains and flip those domains, or just get your own personal domain. There's a link in the description that will take you directly to it. Thank you for checking out my content. Toss me a like, leave me a comment for the YouTube algorithm, subscribe and hit the bell for notification. And if you want to check out some of my other content, check out my video on unstoppable domains and check out my video on Unreal Engine 5, the MetaHuman. And remember, tomorrow's wealth is built today.